Hello, hello. Welcome to this
Cool.
channel and live stream with Giles. I cannot pronounce your last name. I always say it wrong, so I have to go into Facebook. I go to Facebook. I
No,
write
say it without checking first. It's not that hard.
Giles Campbell Longley.
Yeah.
It is right.
Yeah. Yours is like Lundberg.
Say it again.
Lundberg.
Ljungberg.
Yeah. That's Darwin.
Welcome, Darwin, to the show. How are you doing, Darwin?
The postman just walked past the window. I'm sorry. Darwin. I feel like every time my dog is on social media, he's making noise.
Of course it is. How's the Wi-Fi connection at your house?
Good. Why? Is it laggy?
Yeah, you look like a blurry thing.
Oh. I got like super good internet.
Okay.
I'm also really shiny because I just put moisturizer on.
Giles, thank you so much for joining this live session.
That's all right. Oh no, it's gone widescreen. You can see all my washing.
I'm sorry.
I should be at the office. I should be at my nice fancy office while I'm at home.
Why are you not at your office?
Because I don't have a car, and Sarah is. It's a long story, but it basically boils down to the fact that I currently don't have a car. So, you know.
Giles, thank you so much for joining this wonderful live session. I have a couple of questions, or thousands of questions, but before we go into one of those lovely questions, let me tell a story with Giles. So I met Giles in 2000. Was it the first Arab Challenge? I think so. 2015 or 2000.
No, it was 2013. It was the first time you opened the Airwhip gym.
Oh, it was all the way back then.
Yeah, I walked into the reception and you greeted Tim with this massive hug because you knew Tim, but you never knew me. And then you gave me this massive hug and you were like, "I'm Philip," and I was, because all I knew was Marcus from Airwhip. And I was like, I like this guy immediately. So
okay, I
but
apologize.
Tell your story. I'm just gonna share this link on my Instagram.
Oh yeah, please do that. You forgot to do that.
I was in the shower.
Well, yeah, before I go even into the store, what's wrong with you guys who are coming to the live stream? Like last time I was talking to Toby, he was sitting in his toilet and I said, we're going live in 20 seconds, and he was running and immediately, and you were in the same position that it was exactly 11 o'clock or 10 UK time, and you were live. Toby did exactly the same thing. And I was like, what is it with you guys?
We're busy with other meetings, calls, making money, etc.
No, it's the same thing with Aero Challenge. You're always coming the last second. Always. I don't know what it is with you guys. Remember all the way back. Okay, so let's tell the story. So I remember, so there was 2013. Yeah, I was the Aero Academy when we opened that one. But I do remember the not the Airwhip Academy, the Airwhip Summer Camp. That was one of the first, we really got to know each other. I think the biggest one when we're at the arena, right?
Yeah, that was a crazy big one.
Yeah, that was a really, really big one. Always taking the Airwhip to another level. So I always had, there was this guy, his name was Giles, and he was always the guy with the film camera in his hand and filming all the stuff. But he was never the guy who took place, with other people. You were never the guy who said, "Look at me, I'm Giles." You were always the guy behind the camera. And fast forward to where we are today, you're now in front of the camera instead. And for me, Yeah, a lot. I mean, you're the
A lot more than
spokesman.
back then, yeah.
Yeah, and you're a spokesman for the brand, the Motus Projects with the
Yeah.
S in the end, right?
Yes.
Yes. I was when I was starting writing, I forgot to put the S in. But
So
anyhow,
many people do it. So many people.
yeah, I know. You have to tell me the sort of why is in the S in there. But so you have an amazing skill in video editing and filming. For me as a person, always been looking up to you because you have such a creative thinking about doing film work and stuff around your brand. And then you started the Motus project, and I remember when you started it, you said to me, Philip, I want to do the Motus project, and it's going to be idle, no, not idle. It's going to be non-profitable organization, and I'm not going to
Yeah,
earn any money at all.
I never said
And
non-profit, but
I'm, I'm, I will never earn any money. All the money comes
I
in,
was
I'm
so
going to give it
naive.
away.
I was so naive. And you were like, Giles, it's way harder than that. And I was like, no, it's fine. Now, 5 years later, I'm like, I remember you telling me those things. You were like, it's so much more complicated than that. And I was like, nah. And now I see. So
Like, were you afraid of making money, or like people looking at you making money from from the Motus perspective on clothing?
I wouldn't say consciously, but I think there's definitely like a subconscious element that has been there. Like I saw a therapist a while ago, a couple of years back, and like there's definitely tendencies where I'm not like self-destructive in like a crazy sense, but I looking back at things that I've done in the past, I kind of actively like sometimes have done things that then stop me going further. And it's like this weird thing. And I think that comes down to it. But also like I just wanted to do cool shit with the money, and I still do. It's just as the business has grown and become more complex, so to speak, and also as I learned business, I realized that it's not quite as simple as just like in and out. But yeah, so it's all just progression and learning, isn't it?
Yeah, of course, of course. And so, for the last couple of years, before the last Arab Challenge, you were at all the Arab Challenge, and you always created the videos. I, me, and especially me, was pushing you and Toby to edit trailers, videos, filming, stressful environment. It's such a fun time.
Yeah,
Um, and I think from there we got to know each other pretty well, both on set and then between the Arab Challenge, between like on the social media, we were talking a lot about making money, brand building,
and
and
just many good times hanging out at your house.
yes,
Those are the best.
playing some PlayStation, and
Resident Evil.
yeah, Resident Evil. And next time you're coming to Sweden, we don't have that apartment anymore. We have a house.
Yeah.
So so yeah, that's the story of me and Giles getting to know to each other, and um, I think from where we are today, we are always trying to push each other in different areas of both e-commerce and making money. So that is how I know Giles, and that's why I love to have this conversation with you. But also, I'm super happy that we have built that kind of relationship, because I think we both are in a way now to grow our business to the next level. And so, can you just share with the audience where and how Motus started, and in short term, and where you are today, and where you want to go? So it's like 3 steps.
So it started. I mean, everyone watching this probably does parkour, but like I've done parkour for a long time now, 17, 18 years, I think.
Just to be clear here, Giles, I'm also sharing this to LinkedIn, so there's business
Ah,
people.
so okay, it's these business people on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I've been involved with parkour since 2003, obviously just enjoying it and training it. Then I was working basically as a filmmaker and doing mostly film work for parkour. working with people like yourselves and doing commercials and things like this. And then there were other people making brands. I had a kind of growing interest in, like, I say fashion, but it's not like I'm some high fashion person, but I liked the idea of making products and sort of creating revenue with that. And the thing that really appealed to me was, as a filmmaker, unless I wanted to start like a broader business or an agency, which I didn't, because I just didn't ever think that way, your ceiling is only how much work you can take on as a filmmaker. Like, unless you're going to delegate and hire other people and expand that way, you can only take on so much work. You can only kind of grow so much. And that's a slightly naive thing to say, because obviously some filmmakers go on to be the biggest filmmakers in the world. But I knew that was never my path. I could feel that. Whereas when I started looking at the brand thing and looking at other sort of sports and brands, you can do a lot more under the umbrella of a brand, and you can still make films, but you can make products and you can do events and you can do more. It's kind of an easier enterprise to run stuff under. So that really appealed to me. And at the start, I very naively, as we were just saying, was like, oh, I'm just going to sell, like, I've already got a bit of a name for myself within the community. I'm just going to sell products and then use that money to help out sort of events and stuff like this. And, like, I don't know, the AOP challenge needs funding. I'll just like sell 100 t-shirts and give them the money. But obviously, I mean, business is just slightly more complicated than that. And then as the business scaled, I needed to sort of do things and invest into stock and things. And then you suddenly realize that cash flow is a more complex beast than that. And it's grown and weaved in and out of different directions. And I mean, the brand wouldn't be where it is now without the athletes that I've taken on, who have become like kind of an integral part of the brand and the team. And I was probably like the first guy in the community to, rather than look at like existing big names and try and get a t-shirt on them, I just thought, well, I'm going to look at the younger guys who are up and coming, who in like 3-4 years are going to be taking, like, who are going to be dominating, and like those big names will start to fade away. And I was like, well, I'll support them. So that was kind of always the thing. So I did that, and that kind of worked out really well. And yeah, and I mean, it's been a fucking ride. Am I allowed to swear?
Yes, you're allowed to do whatever. It's your show.
It's been a ride. Like, I've made so many mistakes and things, but now the vision is like, as I've got older, I've suddenly realized, like, the business needs to be sustainable. I want it to be around for years to come. I want to employ staff and provide careers. I want to provide stability for myself and my family. And I want to make a business that kind of has a good impact and does cool stuff, but also is not like a hype thing that kind of just pops off and then disappears again. And yeah, and I'm just loving learning and doing it all, really.
Would you say now you go more into the e-commerce and business side and moving away from filmmaking, or are you still doing both? Or
no, like, I'm unofficially retired from filmmaking. Like, if you said, Giles, come and film this sick thing at Airwhip because we're going to have a good time, I'd do it, like, if I've got the time and things. But I don't market myself as a filmmaker. And I film within the brand, but even then less than I used to, because now we have people like Johnston who, like, if Johnston is available to work alongside us because he's one of our athletes, he's so talented behind the camera, I will, like, obviously I don't want to put all the filmmaking pressure on him, and with recent projects he still wants to be an athlete, so there's a balance to achieve, but he's trying to make it as a filmmaker, and it's like, well, whatever I can do within the brand to try and help that is kind of a responsibility, so to speak. So yeah, but what I really like is like coming up with concepts, create like almost a creative vision for something, and then whether or not that involves me behind the camera or getting someone else behind the camera, or even me editing or someone else editing, like, I think I've stepped more into like a creative director position within the brand than just like the filmmaker within the brand.
what do you think would be the most important person to hire today in a company, in a brand situation?
For any brand or for my brand?
Any brand. Like if you started a brand today, what do you think is the most important?
I think find where your weaknesses are, and outsource your biggest weakness first. So like it doesn't.
What is your weakness then?
Well, like the thing that I have always put money into since day one was accountancy, because I don't know accountancy. Like most of my biggest mistakes, like
Not
I
good.
will, yeah, I will happily pay an accountant hundreds of pounds a month just to be like that. And like I give them all the info, they have all the things coming off the site, and there's obviously little bits I have to do here and there to like help out their stuff. But I don't want to be doing end of year reports and things and stuff like that. And then I think it is just look at your situation and think like where do you need that support? What's your weakness? Like what's going to help you get to the next level?
Mm.
So
if I look at the Motus Projects, I
fuck,
would
do a
say
design. I need to do a design. Oh, I love
with S.
with a snake. I
See,
need to have the Motus Projects.
but I want 20%. I want 20%, Giles. 20%. No, so the thing is,
I need to write that.
write it down.
Yeah.
The thing, Giles, is that when I look at your brand and what you're doing so well is your creativity in video making. And if I'm looking in like all the brands today, if we look at the companies who listen here on LinkedIn, and no, it can be IKEA, it can be huge brands, small brands. There's so many that is lacking videographers or video editors or filmmakers.
Mm.
People are hiring today are salespeople when they should hire video filmmakers. Would you agree or disagree on that one?
Yeah, I'd say so. Like the story of a brand or a collection or a social media, like you want to be evoking story and emotion within something, and technically you can do that through photo or you can do it through text, but in this like social media world, video is probably the best way to convey that. And like you can sell so much more genuinely through a video than having someone who's just like plugging a sale or whatever. So yeah, I definitely agree with that to some extent. But I personally I think there's a lot more we could be doing with video, and there's stuff that I want to be doing more of, whether that's like integrating more video into our website or I don't know. So there's a lot of stuff that I think we could improve in, but it's nice to hear you think we're doing all right.
No. I like you are in my opinion top of the line when it comes to brand building and telling a story. You're all like, is it in your head or have you read it or have you seen some people doing it? Because you have certain steps when you're launching something. Like you have the promo, you have the teaser, like you have the teaser, you have like if you're going to release a new clothing tomorrow, you know that you have to promote it today. You have your email marketing, and then you
I mean,
release.
there's just stuff that so many people seem to just overlook, and it literally leaves so much money on the table. And like, I'm sure I leave money on the table all the place, all of us do. But like, if you are releasing a massive collection that you've put loads of work into, and you're not building some form of anticipation, because not just because you want to build hype, but also because you've got to compete against the algorithm, where like, if you do one Instagram post saying, oh, next week we're releasing this collection that we've put like 100 grand into, and there's all these things, most of your audience won't see that Instagram post because of the algorithm. Half of them will see it and they won't read it. Half of them will forget. So like, you don't want to overhype. And I think I've definitely been guilty of doing that in certain places with certain things, but you need to kind of drill it down because you see the results. Like you see the results more than you see people getting annoyed, because 99% of the stuff you see online now, you ignore. It just goes like that. You take, like, you're aware of the things that you see because you care about it. So like our core fans don't mind seeing me going, guys, just to remind you again, there's a sale, like, or there's a collection next week or whatever, because they're our core fans. They want to see that stuff.
Mm.
Like, what you've got to be careful of is if somebody's about to become a core fan and then they kind of get pissed off with how much you're doing something, and it's walking that line. But that's where you try and bring in personality or story or a different media tactic, whether it's email, whether it's Instagram, whether it's YouTube. Like, you can, it's you know, like the touch points, where before you buy something there has to be a certain amount of touch points. Like, very few people see something for the first time and go, I'm buying that. Normally there's touch points that lead up to that. So it's like they saw an advert, they saw an Instagram post, they saw an email, and eventually after it's kind of sunk in a few times, then they make the purchase. So like, yeah, if we're doing a collection, I will be, normally it's kind of a week or two, I start to like build the hype, or what's really fun and what like people seem to really enjoy. And I think I like to think we do it quite well, is you build ambiguous hype. So for the first like week, it's like with our Black Friday thing we did last year.
That was my next question, but yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead with Black
like
Friday.
You want to cause this like, oh, something's going on. Like, and because if it's just like, oh, they have a new product out next week, if you see that product and you don't like it, immediately if you don't like it, it's harder to then twist them back onto it because they've already made their decision. Whereas if the first few things that are going to lead to that sell, so to speak, pushing that product, are more like, ooh, like that's different. What's going on? And that gets into their head more. So then the next time they see something, it's like, oh, like that. And then finally you kind of go, oh, this is the product we're releasing, or this is the thing we're doing. They're already engaged. They're already kind of involved in that. And then they can make the decision about whether or not they want to actually buy it or whatever. But getting into their head first through, and it's not like you're doing sneaky stuff, you're having fun. Like the shit we did last Black Friday was the funnest stuff ever. And all it was selling clothes and making videos. But like,
who came up with the idea?
Just me. Like, I don't know what it was. I was like, oh, we need to do a campaign. I was like, why don't we do a Wheel of Fortune like thing, but half of the things on the thing are like negative. And then like that was the start. And then I send voice messages to the guys, and some of them are like, oh, I get it. Why don't we do this? And others are like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, sometimes it just does that. But if I believe in something, I kind of start to like double down. And you kind of, the idea builds. And as long as you've got enough time to execute on it, you keep kind of building on it and stuff. And yeah, then you get the result. And hopefully the result is then results in sales or whatever you're trying to achieve. So
is this going to be on your Patreon site, or because I can find it on the YouTube?
The Black Friday stuff.
Yeah,
it's on there. So it was mainly an Instagram campaign because the videos that were the end results, i.e. the 80s parkour, the haunted woods, and the chili eating, they're all on YouTube. But Instagram converts and drives so much traffic for us, and it's where we can build the most hype because you have that. So we built out the grid on Instagram that eventually resulted in giving away the Cyber Monday code on that thing. So like, I'll see if I don't know.
Did you pay anything, Giles, for the promotion? Did you push any more extra? Like, did you put any money on the? No. Why?
Because I don't know that space, and it's something that I want to get into, but I don't know it. And whenever I have dabbled, like I've tried a couple of times in the past to like run some ads and things, and I need to, before I commit to something like that, because it's so easy just to throw money away. Like, you can just lose hundreds of thousands. Because if you want good conversions and if you want good traffic, you have to put quite a lot of money on the line because it's a competitive space now.
It is.
So it's definitely something that I think a lot of brands need to rely on. And I think we would be better off if we put money into ads. But I've said this before, like the parkour space is such a good space as like a testing ground because you have such an engaged audience. even if they don't know you, but they do parkour, if they see another parkour brand coming up, they're more than they're more likely to support it than not support it, because
Yeah.
it's within their niche, it's within their sport.
Would you say, like, we talk about this on Messenger about the 1,000 fans?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a typical. Before you said it to me, I actually a good friend of a guy whose name is Joseph. He started a video source now. It's called VAM. So you can send video message through Google Chrome. You can save it and send it to someone else. It's really easy and a good app for the Google Chrome. Anyhow, so he said to me before you said it, I didn't even know that if you build a 1,000 fans or a community, you are on the way to, I don't know what he said, like on the way to a good sales, and you have
Yeah.
those 1,000 core fans, and you're gonna say you're part of the story. But for me, he said Dropbox did the same thing, and there was other the couple big brands that like really focused on getting those 1,000 core fans. So what he actually did, he was calling me. Like I've just talked to him in on LinkedIn. I have never spoke to him before, but he called me and talked to me about this brand, and he wished me to be in the community space where they have a Slack channel, and so he had called 250, like I think we're 250 people now in that community. So he's just keep calling, keep calling. That is his core thing. He's gonna reach 1,000 fans.
Yeah.
It's sick.
It's yeah, I just had to Google it. So there's a for anyone who's watching this and wants to kind of look into it. It's just a really cool concept. It's 1,000 true fans. It's called. If you Google that, you'll find kind of articles and stuff. But the idea is that you technically, if I can't remember the exact figure that they state, but you don't need millions of customers. All you need is 1,000 people to consistently buy your product, and that could be the same 1,000 people. And I think it's something like $25 a year. Like if 1,000 people gave you $25 or £25, I'm terrible at maths. 1,000 times 25. Okay, no, it's not 25. It's more than that. But it's like if you can just generate 1,000 true fans to give you a certain amount each, and maybe it's each month or each year or something like this, then that is all you need to actually create a sustainable business that can employ a few people, employ yourself. And like, obviously it's great to set massive milestone numbers. I mean, we've got friends with millions of subscribers. You obviously had Toby on here last week and things like this, but it's technically, you don't need that to sustain. Because I mean, let's say, what did Storage hit? 7 million subscribers, I think. A huge proportion of them are no more than subscribers, and they're getting ad revenue through that. So that's amazing, because that's still, I mean, just more cash coming in. But if you have aspirations to do something, whether it's just like be an artist or something, you don't need to be thinking I need to sell to millions of people. It's like if you can just get 1,000 people just fully engage with what you're doing, and just you're opening yourself up and connecting with them on a personal level, and selling to them, and they want to support you, then that is essentially the path to sustainability for yourself, which is really cool.
Yeah. And so that leads us to the next one. I think it's very interesting. You had just released a Patreon site. Is it
Yep.
Patreon?
Yeah.
And why did you guys release that?
Kind of just so we just moved into an office. I mean, we moved in a good few months ago now. And we had always thought about doing either YouTube Join or Patreon, because it's a nice way to kind of monetize an audience without feeling like I mean, if you can provide good content, whether it's video or whatever, and people are willing to pay for it, because people are, like, it's the thing you have to get over, that like, as you build an audience, you can test different products and services and things. And yeah, Kevin, tier 2 Patreon, there he is in the comments. yeah, you can test different audiences, and some people are willing to pay for certain things. And we obviously produce a lot of content. And when we moved into this office, we basically were like, well, let's like create content within that that's slightly more focused on building the brand, all the weird stuff that we get up to. Most of the time it's myself and Keelan in there, but other athletes, once COVID calms down a bit, there'll be a lot more, like we'll use it more as a hub. Subscribe to my channel or I eat your pancake. Is that your banner?
Yeah.
But yeah, so when we moved in, it was like, well, this is a really easy divide to basically say, cool, like let's make exclusive content from within this that is slightly, because most of the content we produced is parkour focused, right? This stuff will still have, it's still in line with the parkour niche, but it's slightly more focused on what we do behind the scenes of the brand. So we're kind of creating that space for our true fans, so to speak, those people who really want to see that stuff. And yeah, and it's kind of it's extra revenue that comes in each month, which is obviously, it helps support the company, and Britain.
Yeah, Britain, Brexit.
and yeah, like hopefully it can get to the stage where it can kind of be. I mean, as the company grows, we want to take on sort of more people within the brand to fulfill roles and alleviate some of the pressure that sort of, I don't know, fulfillment or design and things like this. And that money is a really direct contribution. Like it would be sick to get to the stage where it's like, look, you Patreons have literally provided this person with kind of a career, so to speak. So yeah.
So what is your what's the future of the Motus Projects? Like what is the initial goal? Make £1 million? Is that a goal, or have 5 employees, or like if you can speak freely now, what would be your like dream goal?
A sustainably, like a long-standing company that employs I can't see how Motus at this, with this niche, with this angle, like it's a parkour focused brand. As much as maybe in 20 years time somebody might say, oh, we could expand out to like just pure active wear. Like our core thing is parkour, and the parkour niche is only going to get so big. You look at skate brands and things. So I'm never going to employ hundreds of people, but even if we had our office now, but maybe 3 times bigger, and we had 10 people employed there who like manage design, brand stuff, fulfillment, etc. Like this is my grand vision for the next kind of few years, is basically to scale our current model, have more stuff happening in house, employ a few more people, always have an area for training, because I don't want to create one of these offices like Google where it's like, you've got everything under one roof, so you can't go home. Like it's like, there's a book called Remote, and it talks about how like more people should be more remote working, and you get these Google offices and they make them so fun, and they're literally like, you have sleeping pods and you have showers, and it's good, but also it's like, you're never going home, like your life is work.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's like, it's kind of,
Damn.
I want the work environment to be that like everyone there feels like they're working towards a cool purpose, they're getting paid, but also like we're always going to have a training setup. Like whatever building we move into, I always want to make sure that we have a space where we can train. We can also create content in that, because at the moment it's like a multifunctional space. So I just want to expand that basically. But I think, yeah, like I want to turn over a decent amount of revenue to employ people. It's going to be more than 1 million. Like 1 million always sounds massive, but sort of it's,
Yeah, because you have reached for the people who have small brands, starting brands, middle, low. It's a certain journey. You know, when we were talking, starting the Motus project, and we talked about 10,000 euros. It was like, oh, that's so much money, because we were in that state of mind at that point, and that's okay, because we all been there. And then you reach, and you come to the next stage, and like you're talking 50,000 euros, and then the next stage, like, okay, I need to talk about 1 million euros. This is where I want to go, because if we take our poster company now, for example, the ones who do. Like I have friends who have merged with another company, so they have another revenue. Revenue is how much money they earn.
Yeah,
What is the other word when the total sales? Is it a
revenue's like total cash that comes in. So
Okay, okay.
like,
Oh,
yeah,
profit. Okay, so it's not
yeah,
profit.
profit,
Revenue.
what's
No,
left
no.
over.
No. So revenue is the right word. So they have 5 million euros in revenue, and the other company has 5 million euros in revenue. So they merged together. So they're 10 million euro brand now.
Yeah,
And I was talking to this guy. He's super friendly, and he's also in the poster company. So it's a fun conversation. He's like literally helping me. And I told him like I want to build a 5 million euro brand so you can buy my company. But it's interesting when you take that leap in your own head where you are now, and your next step and your next step and your next step.
yeah. Like we had a month
um,
last year that we did more in 1 month than we did, I think, in the entire year of like 2017 or something,
yeah,
which sounds insane, but it kind of, and we've had months since then that haven't done nearly as well. Like you have good months and bad months due to sales and things. And also,
everybody has that.
and I can't remember I don't know if it was 2017, but like it was one of the earlier years, but it wasn't the first year kind of thing. And that was a particularly bad year, but it's just crazy. As you said, your vision expands because you're like, oh shit. Like, but also you don't, the other thing that I'm like, the mistakes I have made throughout the last 5 years, and I'm so much better at now, but I just literally didn't know how to run a business. I had no idea what to do with money, cash flow, etc., and I spent money in all the wrong places, and I fucked up everything. And it's amazing we're still here today, and it's completely, well, I'm the only person accountable for all those mistakes. um, so profitability is like a big thing that I like. I want to have a business that is sort of pulling in a decent amount of revenue to employ people, is still profitable, obviously. Um, and yeah, because I think that's the thing, is when you're young or naive or whatever, you hear like, oh, I want to do 10 million a year. And you're like, whoa, like that's so much money sort of in your pocket or whatever. But it's like, I mean, by the stage you hit, let's say 10 million a year, you're probably earning a nice amount yourself. But if you're turning over 10 million a year, you're probably also employing a chunk of it's maintaining profitability and keeping everything and good, really. So
Exactly.
that's, yeah.
I think it all has its times in different areas. I mean, when we started the Airwhip Academy, I'm so happy for the entire journey. Like was we didn't make any money. Like the only money we made was so we can keep going. We didn't become super rich or anything, but it was such a learning curve for us to learn how to build a business. And I mean, talking about handling 300 kids a week, two
I
times
don't know how you do that shit.
two times the parents, like that's 600 parents with
Yeah.
questions. There's so much to learn, which comes in e-commerce is the most valuable thing. What I would say is the support,
Mm,
this support system, which you introduced me to with Maze, which I
yeah.
really enjoy to have the live conversation on the website and so on, and order tracking system. So, but we need we all need to do that kind of journey. If you're building a brand, you need to do this you know fucked up things when you think you're going in the right direction, and then you hit the wall and say, oh, that was the wrong way. Let's go the
You
other way.
cannot learn without it because you don't know what the alternative is. It's like you don't
True,
know, you have to make mistakes. It's crazy.
true, true.
I think the one area that like I because I was thinking about this when I was in the shower, but it, like I don't really regret any of the mistakes I've made with Motus, bar my naivety to with the money stuff, which is a big chunk, because I just wish someone had taught me that shit previously. Like, some people are really lucky and they either through school or university or from their parents have a decent understanding of like personal and then building onto business finance. I literally went in, like when I was working as a filmmaker, I still didn't understand that stuff. Like, I set up the company with my friend, and we just used to get paid and then split the money down the middle and like then just spend that, and literally just clueless. And it took a long time to like undo a lot of those mistakes. And like, I don't mind any of the mistakes I made with products or campaigns, or even like some of the stuff where I've spent money in the wrong place thinking it's going to go bigger or whatever. But I just wish I had a better basic understanding of finance prior to going into the whole thing, just to feel better in that respect. So that's like one thing that I would definitely say to kind of other people is just like, don't let that stop you from starting, but let that just be a guiding thing that you just always want to have in your head.
True. And so for the people here who are listening now, and they're even they have want to start a brand, or they're building a brand, or they're a huge company, what would be like your advice today?
I mean, that is one, like, sort of, it's the like, I can't remember the exact saying, but like, yeah, like, profit is basically the most important thing at the end of the day. Like, cash flow and revenue are like, revenue is kind of just it's I think it's revenue is vanity, something is something, and then profit is sanity, or something like this. But that's one. I think the other thing that like I'm very grateful for is that I've been forced to essentially do everything, every element of the brand, whether it's like design, fulfillment, customer service, etc., etc. Like, I haven't had any other options apart from to try it all and to work out what I'm good in and where I can kind of look at my watch. I'm shining a light on the back of the room. Yeah, like, I haven't had a choice that not to do any of that, and I'm very grateful, because I think some people, like, let's say you start a business and you're more connected and you get some initial investment, like £100,000, and immediately from day one you outsource your customer service, or you outsource something, and you never touch it, you never sort of have any impact on that. I think you lack a huge understanding of what works and what doesn't, and what, like, customer service, for example, is so crucial to the customer journey through that thing, because people have support issues, whether it's returning something, whether it's just asking a question. And yeah, like, into doing that yourself, you can learn how to convey your brand's kind of message through that, what style of personality to take, how personal you want to get, like what you want to offer, and stuff like that. So I think do it all and then delegate would be my advice.
If someone is watching and they want to start a e-commerce store, which platform do you think they should start with?
Shopify. It's like not even a question. It's so fucking easy. It's so like, and the thing that always gets me is people are like, oh, I looked at the pricing and they take 2% or whatever, and it's like, do you want to make money? It's like you want to sell stuff online, therefore you want to turn over revenue, right? Like, if you're making money, then the fees are not an issue. The fees are only an issue if you're like penny pinching every, like, obviously if somebody's like, oh, I'm going to take a 50% cut of that, then that's ridiculous. But the service that Shopify provides is worth that fee 10 times, not 10 times over, but you know what I mean? Like, don't flinch at the fees. Like, keep an eye on your cash flow and make sure you're not overspending in certain areas and things like this. But if you want to use a service like Shopify, then you can't avoid the fees. So just deal with it and make money. Like, so
I was talking to to one huge brand is called Equestrian, and the CEO. I created some videos for her. They're a horse brand, and she just become on front page of one of the most powerful women in Sweden in age, I think, something, or just a powerful woman. Anyhow, I called her and asked, we want to start a e-commerce store, and ask her if you would redo everything, like how would you do it? And she said, I wouldn't focus so much on creating the store. I would focus more on the marketing and have something that just works. Because she started a WooCommerce.
Yeah.
WooCommerce is so unreliable. Everything can just change in a second, and then something doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then I called another guy whose name is Bengt, and he owns a huge company that have 70 employees and creating website for huge brands here in Sweden. And he said to me, I would recommend you to start with Shopify, and then if you grow to a huge company, you can go with Shopify Plus.
Oh
Where
yeah. You have to be.
Yeah, of course. You need to go like in huge
There's,
money, but like,
there's a
but
website called, I can't remember what it's called, but if you search Shopify fee calculator or something, you can see what revenue you want to be hitting for each of their tiers. So like there's the basic, then there's the Shopify plan, blah blah blah, and then there's plus, and like you have to be turning over a lot of money to justify even the highest tier of Shopify or the the plus.
exactly.
So
But yeah, and also I had a conversation with you as well, of course, Giles, and you said to me Shopify every single day, and I'm super happy that we choose Shopify. We're super happy with it. It works so smoothly, and we're so happy with it. So thank you, Giles, for recommending me that.
I'll take a commission.
No, you won't. All right, so we're starting to end our fun live show. As I said to Toby, like,
like 3 hours.
Yeah, no, we can have a long session here, and we're maybe gonna do another one in the future. Maybe you're gonna do it with me. I don't know.
Kevin asked a question. He said, "What's for a small brand? What tier of Shopify would you recommend?" Just go for the basic one. You don't need anything more for now. I'm on the one above because of a number of reasons to do with like our fulfillment and analytics and things. There's a really cool thing you can do that a lot of people don't realize with Shopify because it's kind of not spoken about. If you're on the, what do you want, Philip?
The middle one. Which
Shopify.
one is that?
Yeah. They're like 79 pounds a month or whatever.
Yeah.
So what you can do you pay monthly or yearly?
Yearly.
Yearly, yeah. So if you email Shopify, you can get them to turn on, Darwin wants to go out. You can get them to turn on it. The £300 a month plan lets you do live shipping rates. Give me 2 seconds. I just need to open the door for Darwin.
All right. He's leaving the live stream. What shall we do? What shall we talk about? Well, we should talk about building brands, and we're here with Giles. Oh, he's coming back.
He loves the sun, so if it's sunny, he has to sit outside, and he'll just get pissed. But yeah, so you live shipping rates means that like I can use the DHL integration, and let's say one day DHL offers £25 for next day delivery to America, but then the day after might offer £28. You set your manual shipping rates, right? So like you might just go, cool, this is flat rate. So like I use flat rate from Royal Mail because they don't change the pricing, but something like DHL does. You can only get access to live shipping rates if you pay for the Shopify £300 a month one, or you do the 70-month one, pay for it yearly, and then email them, and they'll just fucking hit a little button and turn it on. It's super useful. So you should do that basically. But Kevin, just do the small one. That was fun.
And Kevin is starting. They have their brand. It's called Keepa. I think you're following them as well. And I talked to Kevin a lot, and he wants to start selling clothing. And for my advice, I don't know what you will say here, Giles, but he wants to buy clothing and print their own clothing, and then he starts wants to sell. I'm telling him he should do drop shipping in the beginning. What are your thoughts on that?
I would say no, because drop shipping clothing, the quality is not, for like posters, for example, the quality is consistent. You find a good printer, they know what they're doing. For shirts and stuff like that, it's so inconsistent that the quality can vary so much. I would start small quantity of like 1 or 2 items. Don't go too big, don't spend too much money, and do, I don't know, 25, 50 t-shirts. Make them decent, but like not always consider your margins. Kevin, I actually have a really good document that I can send you to help you with pricing stuff. But like you want to make them as good as possible, but also be aware of what you want to sell them at, whether it's 25 euros or whatever, Swedish krones, and then market them well, sell them hopefully quickly, build up that capital, and then scale from there. I think my advice that I see a lot of like other brands doing, small company, not even small companies, like Kevin will know this brand. So there's Palace skateboarding brand, right? Their website is super wacky. Like not just their copy, not just their product descriptions, but the way the website works, it's actually quite hard to navigate and stuff like this. And although it's really fun to go into like designing a website and make it really, really unique and wacky and have like, because I know the vibe that like Kipper have, it's kind of, I know their aesthetic. It's really fun to try and make a very different aesthetic, but it converts terribly. Like you've always got to think about mobile. Most people are browsing on their phone. So you want to create a site that is just super easy to navigate, almost feels quite like a lot of other sites, because you don't want somebody going on and being like, where's the shop? How do I do this? Etc. etc. Like if somebody is new to your brand, they want to just go on and go, cool, this is the information I need. Like I know on Amazon or on ASOS or on like all these other companies, this is where I normally find those things. It will do you wonders if you basically follow a similar guideline in terms of your conversion. You can still try and get your aesthetic and your style into loads of other areas of that site, but never stray too far away from like what is so clearly tried and tested with regards to that product journey on a website, because you will just lose people if they're just like, what's going on? Like, how do I do this and stuff like that?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I think we had this conversation as well, Giles, regarding to the website. And in Sweden, we call it hygiene. What do you call it? Hygiene, hygiene.
Oh yeah. Sarah has a book on it. They're like, it's not like feng shui, but it's organization stuff, right?
Ja, hygiene. Hygiene på engelska. I can't remember. Hygiene.
Oh, hygiene.
Yeah. So you say, yeah, exactly, hygiene. So you it's a common word you use in e-commerce here in Sweden. You say
Okay.
your website, the typical hygiene product on your website is like in the beginning you see. In Sweden, we have Klarna. You hate Klarna in the UK, but in Sweden,
I use Klarna now.
Say again?
Klarna. I use Klarna now.
Okay, but
It's
in
got
Sweden, if you do not have Klarna on your website, you're out in a second. Like it's so important. Everybody, not most, like 9 out of 10 people is buying the stuff with Klarna because of the 14-day invoice that like you get the product. You can, like, if something goes wrong, you just push a button and you're done. So when you go into the website, you need to have Klarna, you need to see MasterCard, you need to have 30-day guarantee money back or blah blah blah, whatever it is. Like you have
capture emails and have good customer, have a dedicated email for customer support and make it very readily available.
Yeah,
They're the other two things. for sure.
Let's see if we go into Motus and we can see them then.
Oh yeah, get put on the spot now.
Here we go.
I love customer support.
Okay,
So,
so
like,
go through here.
bottom left. Click on the bottom left, that little bubble, the little chat bot.
I know.
So this, you got like, you can find your order status, or you could type in a question on the FAQ and it will give you an answer like, I don't know, where's my order or something. Do you type in money?
Yeah. Order.
So like for Kevin, I wouldn't worry about stuff like that too much, like putting in the like chatbots and customer support and things. But you want to be capturing people's emails because it's a really good way to market to them. So like I've got, if you click on the right, get 10% off.
Where? Oh, there.
Yeah. So like this, I'm always testing different ways of like trying to capture emails without being too in your face and different methods and things. But email marketing is fucking amazing. I love it. So like you want to be capturing emails.
This is if we take our website here wants to do it. Here we have up in the right because the eye goes directly to where is the secure. Like, do I feel secure? Can I buy this poster? So, and now we have also put down the COVID-19. Where's the COVID-19? Oh shit, we haven't put it up yet. Oh, I'm so sorry. We need to put it up there.
Views are good to capture as well, but also not like for Kevin, if we're talking kind of directly to him, I wouldn't say you want to like stress over capturing stuff like that straight away, but it's nice to have a review panel.
Yeah, and here for us as well, when it comes to SEO optimization, like there's so much to do. Oh my lord.
I need to get way better at SEO. Like
I have 2 people working full time now only on doing SEO on the website, like every single day.
Yeah, I need to like improve that, but I think this is it's one of those things where I'm trying to do a lot of stuff at once. But yeah, it's like you wanna have fun with your website, but also try and
This is maybe too advanced if you're starting. Like this is for more e-commerce. Like when you're starting to build, if something you want to build it in the long term, SEO optimization is something you're gonna build.
Well, I think
6 months and then 1 year.
Yeah, but also like just starting on Shopify is going to have advantages for your SEO compared to like other shitty sites and things. Just because the way they design the back end. That's the thing. The back end is so well done, right?
I know. I love it. Giles, it's 12 o'clock. I'm so happy that could you take your time to be on here in the live stream with me on my YouTube channel that I'm starting to grow. I have 306 followers. I'm so excited.
Nice.
Yes, I love it. I love the journey. Like I have 10 people watching. I had 20 people watching. I had 35 people watching. I don't care because I am going this for the long run. It's gonna take me 2 years, Giles. 2 years.
2 years. Amazing.
So I am going to build this as great as possible. Do you want to end this live stream with anything?
I guess reach out to me if you got any questions. I'm so far from an expert, but like there's actually a really cool thing that I heard recently is that if you know 10% more than someone about anything, it qualifies you enough to be considered an expert in that, because that 10% could be such a huge difference in like taking an idea to a concept, like expanding that thing. I mean, like a weird way to sum it up. It's like you could know every part about a car, but if you don't know that the key turns on the fucking car, then it's useless. So it's like, I think that's what I'm trying to say. It's like, if you got any questions, reach out to me.
And if you
Like,
don't pay or a Patreon fan, I will hunt your ass down. And oh, Oliver Nordin, he subs for me.
yeah,
Thank
okay,
you. Woo, 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 woo. So please help Giles and his Motus project to become a multi-million brand. So by paying him a Patreon money, that would make him very happy, and me as well, because I love when Giles are making money, because that's what all of my voice message is all about to him on Facebook Messenger. How much money are you making?
I literally you screaming at me at 7 a.m. on a Monday morning.
I just love it.
I
I
love
love
it.
it. All right, Giles. Thank you so much. Thank you everybody who's been on this live stream with us. You can share this live stream to other people if there has any value to it. After it's done, it's going to be on my YouTube channel.
Yes,
Thank you, Giles, and I see you in the next one.
I love you.
I love you too. Bye bye.